Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the City of Prescott regular council meeting to order. It is Monday, December 9th at 6 o'clock. I'll do a roll call. Lindsay?
Here.
Dar?
Here.
Maureen?
Here.
Mike?
Here.
And John and Adam are excused. Everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comments. The council will receive public comments on any issue related to the agenda item. Limited discussion by the council may take place.
Motion to approve the.
I haven't
Oh,
gone
I'm
there
so
yet.
sorry.
It's okay. I know you want
I've
to
been
get
multitasking all day,
Is there a
so.
football game tonight?
No.
Yeah, there is, but,
One in my head, maybe. I don't know.
okay, so hearing none, then next item is the consent agenda. The Fire and EMS Board meetings from November 20th, City Council minutes from November 25th, Planning Commission minutes from December 2nd, General Fund balances from November, cash balances November, paid invoices November, special event permit January 11th, Coulee by candlelight at McGee's Park from, that's all I got is from.
6 till 11, it looks like. PM.
Okay, 6 to 11.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 7.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve council consent agenda items 1 through 7. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried, thank you. Next item on the agenda is reports and standing committees and commissions. Nothing for finance. Planning Commission report. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so City Administrator provided information on our comprehensive plan update. Greg from Cedar Corps presented the details on the proposal. We sought clarification whether the 12-month timeline refers to regular updates, because the Planning Commission will have probably every month, if not every other month, have a meeting on the updates to the comprehensive plan. We also went over proposed amendments to ordinance 635-57, regulation of inhabiting campers and RVs. The Planning Commission wanted to change some of the definitions. Anything over 8,000 pounds should be on an improved surface. So we'll be going back over that again. Did I miss anything, Matt?
No.
Okay, so that's what I know. So then the next Planning Commission meeting will be Monday, January 6th at 6 o'clock. Parks and Public Works, next meeting was rescheduled to Tuesday, January 21st at 5. Health and Safety, next meeting is Monday, January 13th at 5. And Personnel, next meeting is Wednesday, February 5th at 5 o'clock. So the next item on the agenda is communications and new business. Public comments, the council received public comments on any issue not related to agenda. Limited discussion by council may take place. However, no action will be taken on any item. Includes receiving written requests, documentation, possible action at future meeting. Okay, hearing none. Next item on the agenda is review the 2023 audit report by Johnson & Block CPAs. Take it away.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Marissa Powers, and I'm with Johnson Block and Company, and I am the audit supervisor for the City of Prescott's annual audit. And I'm here to talk to you tonight about the 2023 audited financial statements. Apologize, it's almost a year late. I was supposed to be here earlier, a couple weeks ago, and I had a sick child. Were they given PDFs, copies of the audit report and required communication document?
Yes, they're in the packet.
Okay, awesome. So you guys should have three things. We usually give you guys three things. So the first two is the audit report with the financial statements and then the required communication document. And then tonight I'm gonna go through a presentation packet with you, which is just like highlights of those very long documents. So the content of the audit report. So we did issue an unmodified opinion, which is a good or clean opinion, which is the opinion you want for your financial statements. And part of that audit report is a management discussion and analysis, or MD&A. This is just a higher level look at the overall financial health kind of the city of Prescott. It's really good, like 5 pages. If you don't want to read the full audit report, that's a good place to start and read if you're interested in knowing how the city's doing and overall picture. And then in addition, in the financial statements, there's the government-wide financial statements, which reports on total governmental and business type activities. It's a full accrual basis of accounting. And then you have the governmental fund financial statements. So the fund financial statements contains information on all the individual funds. So there's different type of funds. Your governmental funds this year, your major funds were the general fund, TIF 4, TIF 5, capital improvements fund, your food shelf fund, and then you have your non-major funds. And your business type funds, they're counted similar to businesses are, and those were your water, sewer, and stormwater. And government-wide financial statements are full accrual, and business type is full accrual, whereas governmental fund financial statements are modified accrual. And the difference is, major differences, as you see at the bottom there, is between how debt is recorded and capital assets are recorded. And then in the audit report, you have the notes to the financial statements. That's the most lengthy part of the audit report. They get kind of wordy and they're kind of long, can be kind of confusing, but they do have good information to back up all the numbers on the face of the financial statements. And then you have your required supplementary information, or your RSI, and your supplementary information. Required supplementary information is obviously things we're required to include in your audit report. So that's the Wisconsin retirement system schedules and your budget to actual. And then the supplementary information is your non-major fund statements. And then the second document we gave you is the required communication document to the board. This has a lot of stuff we are required to communicate to you as your auditors. We talk about things on internal controls. We did have one finding this year on material weakness for material audit adjustments. And all those adjustments are at the last 3 pages, I believe, of that required communication document to the board if you want to take a peek at those. And then we have management letter comments, which these are just things that are like to bring to your attention to discuss. They're not anything major. It's more of just kind of like recommendations to take a look at certain things.
Should we wait for questions? Because I have some.
Oh, yeah. If you want to give me, it's probably easier now if we do it as we're, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the communications of the material weaknesses. I had a couple of
Yep.
things. Let's see. Material audit adjustments were required to adjust several account balances, and you note the effect of that. But are there, and maybe Beth has this question, so it says that we're going to work to establish policies and procedure to reduce the number of adjusting journal entries. And I think that we've been trying to do that this year, because this is last year's books.
Yeah, and I'll say that in the past 4 years, every year I count them and they're getting less and less. The more that I'm learning and the more stuff that I'm learning how to do myself. A lot of the audit entries in there are like the stuff with the capital assets and big things that I don't personally deal with on the day-to-day basis. And it's more of like an accountant thing to do with the size of our city. Brett has always told me that it's okay.
It is. We do have a lot of municipalities that we, when she says capital assets, she means plant, like for the utilities. We do have a lot of municipalities that we track that for them because it's just frankly, they don't have like the man force to track all that and record all that properly. And I'll admit, sometimes it's just easier just for us just to do it and record it rather than if you record wrong and then we have to undo everything and fix it. So I mean, it's really up to the audit client if you want to record it or not, but yeah, so a lot of those entries are us recording things or recording, like contributed plant revenue, like when the TIF district pays for things in the plant, and then we have to record that revenue and all that stuff, which is kind of higher level governmental accounting too, it's kind of a specialized accounting. We asked for like procedures and policies in place. I know Beth has reached out to us a couple times with questions on things and how to better do things, and I think you've reached out to Melanie in our accounting services department who specializes it's a specialized service we provide, and yeah, so hopefully it keeps getting better. I'm assuming it will. I'm assuming it will.
Well, this finding, along with on the past journal entries, findings, made me think that maybe we need to hire an assistant for our treasurer. I don't know, but I think that we should think about that because we've had the finding under the journal entries that there's not enough checkpoints. Yeah, I don't remember how it's worded in the audit report, but we've had that finding previously.
Are you talking about the segregation of duties one?
Yeah, I think that's
Pardon me?
Are you talking about the segregation of duties one or the lack of
Yes,
segregation
the
of duties?
segregation
I will
of
tell you now, no matter what you do, you will never get rid of that finding.
Oh,
So
okay.
unless you are Cargill, who employs a finance department of 20 plus people.
Yeah.
At minimum, you're not gonna be able to properly segregate things.
Okay.
With the resources
Who's
you
not
have.
laying people
Yeah.
off, by the way?
So I mean, you could probably do it if you had 5, but I mean, you don't have the resources to employ 5 people in the financial department. It's, yeah.
Well, I was thinking in terms of future needs.
Yeah.
But perhaps this is an area we might need to look at in
Yeah.
future budgets.
Yeah, I would definitely think like that material weakness one of audit adjustments, that one can definitely go away if we get the audit adjustments down and stuff like that. But the segregation duty ones, yeah, that one unfortunately is probably not going to go away unless our standards change, but they're probably not.
Okay.
So,
Well, that makes me a little bit more comforted.
yeah, and you're not the only municipality that has it. I think I have 20 clients, I only have one client that doesn't have it, and it's a big nonprofit, so. So-
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then, next page, we'll get into the financial statement highlights. So these are taken directly from the financial statements. This is just a very summarized version of it, because you have pages and pages of financial statements. So we're just gonna take a look at the general fund. So compared to 2023 to 2022, your total assets for general fund are approximately 5.8 million compared to 6.3 million, 2022. The largest decrease for that was in cash. For your liabilities and deferred inflows, you had total liabilities and deferred inflows approximately 2.8 million, which is very comparable to 2022. And your total fund balance in general fund was approximately 2.9 million compared to 3.5 million, which was a decrease. This top little chart is detailed the general fund balance. I'll talk about more of this on the next page. I think we would break out better of it. In the bottom half is your summarized income statement for the general fund, and we have it budget to actual. So the first column is your 2023 budget, and the second column is 2023 actual. So you budgeted for 2023 revenues approximately 2.9 million, expenditures approximately 4 million, and other financing sources and uses, which is your transfers in and out, approximately 214,000, for an ending net change in fund balance decrease of approximately 850,000. Your actual revenues for general fund again were approximately 3.4 million, expenditures were 4 million, and other financing sources and uses approximately 128,000, for an ending net change in fund balance, a decrease of 550,000. So this is the breakout of the fund balance. So for the general fund balance, you had a non-spendable fund balance of approximately 335,000, which included delinquent personal property taxes, advances to other funds, and prepaid expenses. And then you had assigned fund balance of approximately $178,000, which is for the employee vacation and sick leave. And then unassigned fund balance, approximately $2.4 million. This is all your other funds, fund balances. You guys have a lot of funds, so they kind of look really small on that thing. But your special revenue funds had approximately $630,000 total fund balance for special revenue funds. As you can see, the ones that are included in there, public water impact fees, all your impact fee funds, and then ARPA recovery fund, your K-9 fund, those little funds. And then your capital projects funds, which include your TIFs and your capital improvement fund, your capital projects fund. They had total ending fund balances approximately $2.5 million in 2023. In that capital improvements fund, you can see there was a large increase ending fund balance, and that was mostly due to unspent bond proceeds as of December 31st, 2023. And then your debt service fund had ending fund balance approximately $216,000. Now we're getting into the utilities. So your water fund was the only fund that had a loss this year. The water had a loss of approximately $67,000. Sewer had income of $176,000, and stormwater had income of approximately $14,000. This is a look at utility cash flows. Looking at all of these, they all had net cash inflows this year. So water had net cash inflow approximately $312,000, sewer inflow $1.3 million, and stormwater inflow of $72,000. This is your utility operating income loss for the last 3 years. As you can see, your utilities, the stormwater and sewer obviously still have net income, but their net income is getting smaller, and the water kind of has been fluctuating the last 3 years. So the title of this one got lost somewhere, but this one is last 5 years of expenses for the general fund and debt service fund. So general fund and debt service had total expenses in 2023 approximately $4.5 million. And all these are kind of comparable, and they kind of fluctuate normally. And the debt service one, the red one that shoots up there, was because you guys paid off some debt early this year. So that's why that one looks really high. I think there was a typo on this one too. So the first pie chart there, this is a breakout of your general fund and debt service expenditures. So the same numbers from the previous page, but that total expenditures for the 2023 pie chart should be $4.5 million. Overall, the makeup of these, it would have looked very similar, but that debt service fund is kind of thrown off the pie chart. Otherwise, they would have been comparable. But your largest for 2023 was public safety and for debt service. All the rest were pretty comparable. Yeah, your general government made up 14%, public safety 37%, public works 17%, debt service 28%, and then all the rest were less than 5%. This is looking at your general fund revenues, a trend analysis for the last 5 years. This is pretty comparable between years, not a huge lot of swings, just that more blue line, the top line, I guess, is taxes. That did increase this year, and it's due to the special assessments for the projects. And general fund did have total revenues of $3.4 million. This is a breakout of those same revenues for the general fund. Again, I think the 2023 number had a typo. The total revenues for 2023 are $3.4 million. And as you see between the two pie charts, they're very comparable. The makeup was very similar to the prior year, which with taxes making up the most at 49%, and then intergovernmental revenue, which is your grants, at 20%. This is analysis of your debt limit for the last 5 years and debt capacity. So as of 2023, City of Prescott has about 64.55% of debt still available in their debt limit. And your equalized value, you did have a growth of approximately 22%. This is looking at your property taxes for the last 3 years. This graph doesn't have a whole lot of movement, unfortunately. You can only raise your property taxes so high. So you did levy in 2023 property taxes, approximately 4.2 million. Again, they're all very comparable, and TIF 3 is 0 there because that was closed in 2020. And this is a look at your property taxes, the 2023 levy collected in 2024, the property tax roll. So obviously your school district makes up the most at 38%. City has 24% of that property taxes, and the county has 19%. And this last page, so this page goes with that very first financial statement, the government-wide statement. If you want to look at that page, probably with this page, probably make a little more sense. So this page shows net expense revenue by function. So your functions are general government, public safety, public works. And it shows the net cost. So if they're in parentheses, that means that they have like net loss for that program, and then it's made up by general revenue, so your taxes or grants that weren't assigned to a specific function. So some grants you get are like specifically assigned like to public safety, so that goes against public safety's expenses, obviously, and they net together. So your total government activities funded by general revenues for approximately a loss of 1.8 million, and then your general revenue is approximately 4.9 million. Yeah, so that little note on the bottom, it says the net cost reflects the cost of each function funded by tax dollars or other general revenues. So that's what that government-wide statement is telling you. And that is all I have for my presentation. So does anyone have any other questions or anything you wish to address or anything at all?
No?
I have a question for Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. Makes my job easier.
Marissa's here to help me, so.
well, I'm back to the journal entries and the internal accounting controls that were on page 9 and 10. And there are several recommendations here that things need to be reconciled monthly. And I just wondered if that's a new recommendation or how, isn't that done? I think there was our checking expenditures.
Yeah, I think that some of that stuff was stuff, because I was looking back at the year, some of it hasn't gotten removed from there, like the monthly bank recs and stuff. There's stuff that's done and reconciled in accounts payable or not reconciled monthly.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff in the last couple of years that probably wasn't getting done my first couple of years doing it just because I didn't know. And as I've been working with them, it's going, but then they're still on that sheet.
Okay, I think there's one, talking about reconciling, I think that's a tax refund account.
Yep, and that
That we
one we
discussed.
got figured out this
Okay.
year. And that was, because that one's not done in our books, it's only done on a spreadsheet.
And then I think we might still include it because I know we had that reconciling issue with Civic.
Yes.
Do you remember that
Yeah,
weird
because
transaction
we
that
can't
got
figure-
voided? Yeah.
can't
And
figure
so
out the
if we have something like that
balance, yeah.
kicks out, we have to include like management
Gotcha.
comment, so yeah.
Something like,
Yeah.
but yes, the bank recs are done monthly and accounts payable is reconciled monthly and the utility accounts are reconciled monthly, so.
So, I'm sorry, because it says in here that it wasn't done at all during that year, accounts payable.
That's not true.
Oh, in 2023?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay.
we'll talk about it.
So anyway, I just was curious about, again, I'm back to that long-range view. Are we going to need an additional support in the office? And I think that, we have taken care, police come fairly regularly, public safety for additional staff people, and public works comes fairly regularly, and we tend to take for granted that the office staff is capable in handling everything, and maybe we're asking too much, So that's just where these things led me to.
No, it makes sense. Are you guys still down a person after, like, from 5 years ago?
No.
No. Well, no, I don't
Yeah.
remember how you have it on, but, I guess one thing I did want to bring up on, I don't even know, the presentation, for the general fund, you had a net change in fund balance, a decrease, 550,000, which I'm assuming you guys were aware that you decreased your fund balance. And we've been talking as an audit firm, we just wanted to make sure that our boards that we present to are very aware of like decreasing your fund balance or having net losses, especially in your general fund. Like, be careful of that. Obviously, everything's tight everywhere, money's tight everywhere. We have a lot of schools that are in dire situations right now that they didn't get referendums passed, and now they're chipping way too far at their general fund balance. So just make sure you're aware that you're not chipping too far at that fund balance and that you have enough in there for reserves and later on, just in case something happens or, yeah. And we do have some municipalities that are even going out for referendum because they have been chipping away at their general fund balance, and they're simply going out for referendum for public safety because that's what's more likely to be voted positively by the community members, so.
Okay.
Just, yeah, want to make you guys aware that you guys did have your general fund balance did decrease this year, so just wanted to point that out.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Resolution 50-24, final resolution authorizing special assessments to Elm and Washington Streets under police powers pursuant Section 66.0703 Wisconsin statute. Greg, take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'll try to give you maybe a high overview of, so this is the final assessment report for the street project. So just a little all-encompassing view of it. We did a preliminary assessment report when we had an estimate of the project and an estimate of what your assessed entities would be, and that is curb and gutter and sanitary sewer laterals. So then when the project is put out for bids, constructed, and all the final pay items are done, we evaluate then the bid prices for your assessed items, curb and gutter and sanitary sewer, and the footages, which the footages of them stayed the same. We didn't change any of that. And then complete the final assessment report. But the one thing that happened, which was a huge benefit, I'd applied for a DOT grant and the city was awarded it in June, I believe, for $871,950. So that was an eligible item of which curb and gutter was a part of that. So I looked at, and I've got one of these grants for Alberton College several years ago, same type of grant, and it was the same scenario. And what I did was take that grant dollar relative to the eligible total, and that was resulted in a 63.6% reduction in those grant eligible items. So in the interest of not making it look like the city is getting grant money for something and then charging a 100% revenue on an assessment for something they got grant money for, what we've done in the past is drop the assessed cost, that same 63.6%. Otherwise, you would be recouping funds for a grant and then charging people in your assessments for money you've already got. Hopefully I explained that well.
I noticed that. I thought that the residents are going to be happy about that.
Yeah, it's definitely, it doesn't really affect your assessments. It looks like your assessments are a lot lower, but you were compensated for it, and then some on the grant. So the assessment, like I said, I went through the assessment schedules, updated them, and even the sewer lateral rate was coming in lower than I think what I had. I should have brought the preliminary report with me to compare before and after. And then Matt and Carter, I think, went through the property owners. I think there was 4 property owners that might have changed residents on the project, and those were updated also. So with the fact that the assessments came in lower than the preliminary, you don't have to do another final assessment hearing, or so it is more of just a review and approval of that. So I guess if you have any other questions on it before.
Okay. Look for a motion to approve it.
I move to approve Resolution 50-24, final resolution authorizing special assessments for the Elm Washington Streets project.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 50-24. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Greg. Next item on the agenda is approval of the labor agreement between the City of Prescott and the Prescott Professional Police Association from January 1 of 25 through December 31st of 2027. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So the current agreement with the Prescott Police Union runs out at the end of this year on December 31st. We have been negotiating with the union since about July of this year with different meetings. We have tentatively agreed upon an agreement for 2025 through 2027. I'll just walk through some of the major changes. First, the agreement does have a 3% or 3-year 4% annual wage increase for the members of the union. It does have a added provision that any shifts that need to be filled will be start with least seniority to highest seniority, and that will reset every 6 months. We did remove a higher date vacation range, which had a 1.54 years of accrued vacation in the first year to just include higher first, second, and third year anniversaries, all at 3.8. Made some changes to the clothing uniform allowance. And under 16.1, we worked with the union. Right now, the first 3 years will accrue 8 hours of paid sick leave per month, and then after you get up 3 years, it's 11. And the reason that change was worked around is because a police officer does patrol, works 11-hour shift. So the officers felt is once they got seniority, they should be compensated on a per month basis for a day they actually have to take for full sick, just like everybody else within all the employees that work here. So that switch was made. Did some corrective language to 16.3 to match with 16.1 for accumulated sick leave payout. And then one of the other big ones then was worked to have a seniority pay included, which basically is when a patrol officer works here for 8, 10, and 12 years, that means with the city, this isn't a lateral transfer, with the city, they shall get an additional 50 cents per hour at each of those anniversary dates for a total of $1.50 per hour. So with that, I'll turn it over to council for comments or questions. The union has reviewed it and has, the members have approved and accepted the agreement.
Motion to approve the labor agreement between the City of Prescott and the Prescott Professional Police Association for the next 3 years, starting on January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2027.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the, excuse me, City of Prescott and the Prescott Professional Police Association from January 1 of 2025 through December 31st, 2027. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of agreement between the City of Prescott and Cedar Corps to complete a comprehensive plan update per Wisconsin State Statute 66.1001 for $22,500. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So our comprehensive plan is a long-term policy planning document that is required by the Wisconsin state statutes. It would typically last for 20 years. However, Wisconsin statutes do require that the document is updated every 10 years per 66.1001. Basically what the comprehensive plan lays out is, I believe, 8 to 9 different chapters for strategic planning, covering things like agriculture, natural resources, economic development, land use planning, etc. This plan does involve public input, serves as a guide for zoning development and funding decisions in the future as we go forward. We did work with Cedar Corporation, and they put together a estimate, or a quote, I should say, or proposal for $22,500. This is to come out of our general fund reserves, and this was approved as part of our city's 2025 budget. The full comprehensive plan is linked in the memo, but the time frame for completing this work will be 9 to 12 months. Planning Commission reviewed the contract, and they approved at their December 2nd meeting unanimously to move it forward with council. One of the things that we are going to be working on, if this is approved, is developing a full schedule that we shared with Planning Commission and council. We'll also be working internally and with Cedar Corporation to develop a survey that can be used as part of this to get community feedback. It went well when we did that for future planning for Great Rivers Park, so we think it will go well and be something that would be useful then for the Planning Commission and council as we move forward in this document. So with that, I'll turn it over to council for comments and questions.
Yeah. A motion to approve the agreement between the City of Prescott and Cedar Corps to complete the update for the comprehensive plan.
Second.
I was waiting for you to say one.
I was too, but good job.
Got it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement between the City of Prescott and Cedar Corps to complete a comprehensive plan update for $22,500. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I have some questions,
Well, go
Mayor.
ahead.
I noticed in there that it's all going through the Planning Commission this time. And I was here for the last one, but I don't remember why it went, if it went through the Planning Commission entirely last time. But I wondered if, I'm interested in the public meeting aspect. And I know you mentioned doing a survey. We don't have a good return on this when we send out surveys, but I'm interested in some, I know that the Planning Commission has open time in its meetings, doesn't it? Like an open comment time?
I don't believe so. There's no general public comment. If they have a public hearing for a specific topic, it'll be on the agenda, but we don't, not like council where you have two different sections for public comment.
Well,
Planning Commission.
are we going to have a draft that's released to the public so that they can,
Yes, so as part of
and
the,
some time to comment on that then?
yes, we'll be required to have a public hearing that will allow for, we'll post it online and in the paper that will allow for public to come and offer feedback.
Yeah, and will the council be getting drafts as they're finished so that we can,
We can do that. So generally in talking with Josh Miller with Cedar Corporation, generally the thought is that we'll probably do at Plan Commission 2 chapters at a time.
oh,
And then have
okay.
5 different meetings where the Plan Commission can review all of them and provide feedback. Then once those changes and all those chapters are made, then we'll have a actual final draft document that can be released for public to view, and then we'll have a public hearing. And as part of that, someplace in that process, which we'll be working through, is offering a survey out so everybody can comment. We
That
have to
was
work on
my-
what questions they'll be forward.
Yeah, that was my next question, was if we were going to be doing sections. And I was, can we get those drafts as well as the Planning Commission?
Yeah, we can, we'll, as part of the Plan Commission documents or Plan Commission agendas and packets, we'll send those to council as well to
Okay,
be included.
yeah, because I would like to see it as it's evolving.
We did that same thing with the update on Chapter 635 in our ordinance. We did that through the Planning Commission, and we did that in sections. In, month after month after month after month until it was done, and then it was brought to the council for approval. So that's generally how it's being done.
Okay, that's good. I'm happy with that.
So is there any other comments on the motion? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is other business. First item is council workshop on Monday, December 16th at 5 o'clock. 2025 spring election papers. Ward 1 and Ward 2 due Tuesday, January 7th by 4:30. And there will be no council meeting on Monday, December 23rd.
Thank you.
Matt, do you have anything else?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that
Second.
motion.
We have a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.